What up, YouTube? I am Sean Gardner, and this is Kick It Culture. Thanks for kicking it with me. And on this channel, I like to talk about all things personal development and philosophy and how they kind of relate to each other in life. So if you're into those type of topics, drop a like and subscribe for future content. So for the past few days, I've been thinking about this idea of power and its application in life. I think the word power in itself can be pretty vague and can be interpreted, many different ways. I think the word itself is pretty multi-layered and can have different definitions for different contexts. So let's go over a few definitions of the word and then get into the idea of what I mean. So I'm getting these definitions just from dictionary.com, nothing crazy. So there are three definitions I'd like to go over. The first of which says the ability to do or act, capability of doing or accomplishing something. The second one is political or national strength. And the next one is the possession of control or command over people. I think the second and third definition that I mentioned are those of which people are a little bit more familiar with and kind of encounter and endure on their regular everyday life. While the first definition, while still being pretty relevant, is kind of neglected. I think most people could acknowledge that in whichever country they live in, that there's some type of power structure in place, not only in relation to the world at large and where they fit in that puzzle, but also like on a micro scale within their own country, like the balance of powers within their own country to control and command the people of the country. Now, I think that idea of power is well established and well understood. It's going to take a lot more than just one single solitary person with some ideas to kind of reform that way of living, right? Um, but however, going back to the first definition of the ability to do or act, capability of doing or accomplishing something, I think people as a whole, like the common person, the average person as a whole, fails to fuel that sense of power within themselves. Now, the reason I say that is because I think there's far too many people, myself included, that give their power away for many reasons. Some we know that will benefit us, others we also know that might not benefit us. And then as time goes on, we might find that we gave all this power away for little return. Now, I believe everything happens for a reason. And I don't think the world is set up the way it is by coincidence, right? But I'm also the type of person to have a hard time seeing the glass half full sometimes. Reason being is because all throughout history and even in your own lifetime, you hear of these people who've had extraordinary lives and who have had all these obstacles and despite that have overcome and have created the life that they always dreamed of. Many of these people in their circumstances, they very well may have felt powerless and may have not felt they had the tools necessary to change their life. But through a number of different factors like willpower, education, courage, just to name a few, these same people were able to change an unfavorable situation into a favorable one. Now, I say all of that basically to say this, that true power, innate power, cannot be given. It can only be cultivated and created by you yourself. Many of the people we consider idols and heroes who had to overcome these challenges would definitely have to admit to being creative to become more of themselves, to become a better version of themselves. I believe there's a saying that goes, you can't solve the same issue with the same thinking that created it. Creative and critical thinking are the seeds to grow your innate power. When you cultivate your creativity and your true interest, you get a sense of fulfillment and control in your life that you may have not otherwise. Now, I think being creative can come in all different types of forms. It doesn't have to come in a traditional sense of music or drawing, right? I think it's a more of a mentality, and you can apply those same ideas to everyday life and everyday things that you pursue, things like your career or your family. And with most things in life, creativity is like a muscle. So the more you exercise it in one area of your life, the more than likely it's going to bleed into another area and influence that as well. Before something comes to fruition, it has to be thought of, it has to be seen in the mind, right? And usually, once we're playing that idea in our head, in our mind, we get this sense of satisfaction or like euphoria from doing that thing or accomplishing that thing in our head. At this point, many ideas tend to kind of fizzle out and never get actually formulated due to a lack of confidence or self doubt on the person having the idea. Many of the time, due to just inexperience. But for those few who push past the unknown and explore their creativity, those are the very few that will gain more experience each and every time and gain more knowledge on what was once foreign to them, and that will give them a sense of fulfillment and a sense of control over their life. So, my advice to anyone who may be feeling a little bit powerless in life or who may lack a little bit creativity, um, simply just get out your comfort zone and to try something new. You know, dip your toe into some new waters. You know, no one is ever great at something when they first attempt it. And even if you are a natural, it's always best to hone that skill or understanding because that baseline that you have, it can only go up from there. And that's always great. So, those have been my thoughts on the topic and idea of power and creativity. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. It'll be much appreciated. Don't forget to check me out on Instagram. I am Sean Gardner, and I'll check you guys out on another one. Peace.